So, now what? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, guys? What's going on, Basement Dweller? Guys, I'm up here in Forest Lake visiting the video game store in the far north. Where is the laser? I want the laser. This sucks. Can't stop on stuff. You gotta punch it. Yeah. What's up, Basement Dwellers? Allow me to play the song of my childhood.
Dragon Warrior has a special place in our hearts for us 80s kids. For a lot of us, it was the game that introduced us to RPGs. It was originally called Dragon Quest in Japan, but renamed Dragon Warrior in the West because of an already existing Dungeons & Dragons knockoff sharing the same name. And like Dungeons & Dragons, it used the same gaming mechanics to play. Hit points, magic points, spell lists, attack power, and defense power.
The only difference is instead of using a d20 to manually roll an attack, the game itself actually generates the attack randomly.
Now there were other video game RPGs around at this time, Final Fantasy and Ultima to name a couple, but Dragon Warrior was the one that so many people had.
Why is that, you ask? It was given to you for free with a subscription to Nintendo Power.
That's right, in 1990, if you were a subscriber to Nintendo Power, you were able to get Dragon Warrior sent to you for free. Now, NES games new ran from $40 to $60 a piece, so you can imagine we all jumped on this opportunity. This was my personal introduction to the turn-based fantasy RPG. I had yet to play any pen and paper RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons. Before Dragon Warrior, the closest I'd come to this experience was Adventure on the Atari 2600. Yeah, kind of a far cry. So, does Dragon Warrior still hold up after almost 30 years?
Well, let's start the game and see how it is.
Now, the first thing you have to do is select which log you want to register your name. There are 3 separate save spots available in total. I'll use save number 2.
There we go. Uncle Danny.
The game is pretty basic. It opens up with the king telling you that you're their last hope. You're in the world of Alefgard, where you begin at Tentacle Castle. The evil Dragon Lord has stolen the Balls of Light and is holding them at Charlock Castle, which, incidentally, is located there. The first thing you have to do in Dragon Warrior is get some equipment with the little bit of gold that the king gave you.
You know, for being the chosen one to take down the Dragon Lord, you'd think the king would have gifted you some more gold or maybe given you some better weapons.
After you get your weapons and items, it's time to quest. But not before talking to people in the town. The main rule in every RPG is always talk to the town folk. They can offer you advice and give you clues to hidden items, and in some cases, you can't progress in the story until certain people have been talked to. You spend the majority of the game grinding on baddies in order to progress to more difficult areas of Alefgard. As you venture further from the starting area of Tentacle Castle, the enemies become progressively harder. You begin with the all-too-familiar slimes and progress onward to ghosts, scorpions, magicians, and eventually dragons.
Whoops! Got a little ahead of myself there.
When you die, you return to the king in Tentacle Castle fully restored, but half of your gold is lost. This can be a real pain in the ass if you're trying to save up for some of those expensive items, like the Silver Shield. Now this dragon encounter here is early on in the game. You won't face dragons again for a while after this one. This dragon is holding Princess Gwaelin captive. When you beat the dragon, you free her and bring her back to Tentacle Castle, where she gifts you her love.
Thanks?
Actually, her love is an ability to see how many experience points you need in order to progress to the next level. Kinda useful, but I would have preferred a weapon upgrade. One thing I don't get is when you talk to her, she asks if you love her, and it gives you a yes-no option.
Do I love you? No. Do I love you? No. Why does it even give you an option? She won't shut up until you say yes.
Eventually, you gather all the required items and are able to use the rainbow drop, which creates a bridge to Charlock Castle. You want to be at least at level 20 before you enter. I've heard that you can get as high as level 30 before the XP caps.
What do you say, basement dwellers? Wanna go for a ride?
Okay, I am at level 30. This is farther than I've ever leveled in this game. I have 190 hit points and 200 magic points. I am more than ready to beat the Dragon Lord. Even the king is asking me why the hell I haven't beaten the game yet.
Who am I to argue with the king? Let's go to Charlock Castle and beat this thing.
When you first get to Charlock Castle, there seems to be nowhere to go. There's a few stairs here and there, but they all lead to dead ends. It turns out that you have to search behind the throne to find the hidden entrance to the maze that will lead you to the Dragon Lord.
Now, I only know to do this because of Nintendo Power and other walkthroughs that came out for this game. I mean, seriously? If you were to go into this game blind, how would you know to do that?
It's like getting the fairy flute and toll that you need to put the golem to sleep. There's a guy at another town that tells you to go 4 steps south of the fountain and toll to get an item. Does that really look like a fountain to you? I know it's 8-bit, but come on.
Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Back to the final castle.
After navigating the maze and encountering countless epic monsters, which at level 30 I am almost one-shotting, I have finally made it to the Dragon Lord.
Alright, this is funny. When you first go up to him, he gives you the option to join him. Here's what happens if you press yes.
Yeah, the game just ends. Wouldn't that be awesome if all of a sudden you could play as evil and go pillage the towns and castles? Maybe have encounters with guards as you would regular enemies? That would have been very BioWare of them. Minus all the sex with non-human creatures.
Alright, here's what you're supposed to do. Let's see what a level 30 encounter against the final boss looks like. His first form only took 2 hits, and now this is his final form right here. This normally took a while when I would beat him at level 20. play this for 20 minutes. I beat it in 6 hits. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, I just beat the Dragon Lord in 6 hits. Wow.
So all is right with the world. Evil has been destroyed, and with the quick chant of return, I'm greeted by the thankful king and get to take the princess, if I choose.
Dost thou take me? No. 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 Yes.
So we all live happily ever after, and that is the end of Dragon Warrior. Unless the dragons return again, which they do. Oh my God, they do. There are so many different Dragon Warrior, or should I say Dragon Quest games that are out today. It has grown to be one of the biggest RPG franchises out there. Dragon Quest 2, Dragon Quest 3, Dragon Quest 7, Dragon Quest 11, Dragon Quest Theater Rhythm, Dragon Quest Builders, all on multiple platforms, Nintendo, PlayStation, DS. It is an RPG powerhouse. Now, if you've never played a Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior game, you don't need to worry about playing them in order. Each game is a different self-contained story. The only reason I would recommend playing them in order is every once in a while they will throw in an Easter egg that would only be noticeable if you played them in chronological order. So the final question, how does Dragon Warrior stand up to the test of time?
It depends on who you're asking.
If you played it back in the day, this is a great game to revisit 30 years later. But if you're playing this for the first time, you might be a little bored with it. Don't get me wrong, this is a solid game, and it was a perfect introduction to the franchise. But with how RPGs have progressed over the decades, this one might be a little hard to get into if you don't have that nostalgic value that comes along with it. It is a slow-moving game when it comes to leveling, and there really aren't a lot of places to explore compared to the Dragon Quest games that followed. Honestly, if you've never played the Dragon Quest franchise, I would start with Dragon Warrior 2. It is a much faster-paced RPG, and I think it will do a better job of keeping you interested. And you like the second one? 3 and 4 get progressively better. Now before we come to a close, I have a special treat for you. Dragon Quest on the Nintendo Famicom. This was originally released in Japan 3 years before we got it here in the States as Dragon Warrior. I'm curious to see how they compare.
Yeah, I can't read this, so any of you that speak Japanese, let me know what I just named myself.
So the intro starts the same. You have to destroy the Dragon Lord, but look at your character. Why doesn't he turn when he moves? He's always facing the screen.
It's like he's watching me, evaluating me.
And what is this? I have different options for dialogue? That's actually kind of awesome. I don't know what they say, but I like that there were options of different things to say to people. Why do we always get the watered-down version of good games?
Okay, I take it back. I mean, really? A password in an RPG?
Yeah, Dragon Quest needs a password. No save battery. You have to enter a password every time you play. And look at it! Man, that sucks. I take back what I said. We got the superior version of the game. We have saves and a character that turns when he moves. The turning is sort of me nitpicking, but the save feature is a huge deal. Who wants to write down and enter all this crap each time we come back to the game? Good God!
I think I might have to mark down Dragon Warrior as a historical moment in gaming history. It's an example of where the West got the better game than the East. If you grew up with this game and you enjoyed it, you'll still enjoy it to this day. And it's a fairly inexpensive game to find. They usually go for like $7 to $10 at most gaming stores. Compared to the ones that come after it, Dragon Warriors 2, 3, and 4 go upwards of $50 to $100 depending on the condition and where you find it. But it is definitely worth picking up if you want to see one of the original 8-bit RPGs. definitely check it out. See you next time.